Hey everyone, Grace here from Wild Sunny Farms. I've been getting a lot of questions on how I make my candy boards. So I thought I'd finally show everybody how I make my candy boards. It's nothing special, no secret or anything. Also to mention that this is not really a how to make candy boards. This is just a how I do kind of video, like the Mike Berry thing. But I'm just doing how I make my candy boards. It's nothing special. The boards, however, they're nothing special at all. They're just not really high quality, but we're just using these as a time being for making candy boards. So the first thing to consider I want to talk about is I've been getting questions on why do I make candy boards in Alabama and why do I use them. Well, the main reason is these things last at least 3 weeks, so I don't have to go out there every single week to check on just 2-pound bags. So it's easier to go ahead and give them something big and let them eat it throughout the 3 weeks of cold weather. So, and another reason is our temperatures goes ups and downs like a roller coaster. Like our last video, we're talking about the roller coaster winter. It's really something to think about. So that's why we're feeding candy boards, is because one day we may have 70-degree weather, one day we may have 40-degree weather highs, or we may have 30 degrees, it goes back up 50s, 60s, back to 40s. So the bees are always moving, always doing different stuff. So it's good to have our sugar, have our candy boards on set, ready to put on and have them on, so then they can eat. Because during the warm weather, they're flying, like we're talking about. They're flying, they're burning up energy. So then whenever it gets cold, they have all that honey, everything burned out. They don't have nothing to go to. So that's why we put these candy boards on. And it also sustains the queen. It also helps the queen to keep on laying. We still need some brood. We don't need too much brood in winter. We don't need like a whole bunch, but maybe just one frame, maybe, depending on where you are. This is Alabama, so whoever, Illinois. Our candy boards last about 2-3 weeks, which is a long period of time for us. But for northern states like Illinois, Ohio, they probably can consume it in a week because they have more colder temperatures. So now let's get into how we actually make them. So there's 3 things you'll need, 3 simple things, or actually 4. It's the board, however. You'll need your sugar. 4-pound bag, depending on how big and thick this is. I think this is about 1 inch thick, maybe a little less, maybe a little bigger. So then we need a 4-pound bag of sugar. You can use 2 pounds, depending on how much you need, that is. Then you need a little hot water, and you also need some protein. You don't need to always have, you can use protein, or you can use Apis Biologics. So we may use both, or we may just, I'm gonna show you a few different things of how you can make them. But today we're gonna be doing something simple. So you're most likely gonna have these 2 things. If you don't, you can easily go to the store and get them. So let's go ahead and get into the candy board making. Okay, I got my ingredients. So what you'll need per 1 candy board is, depending on how much sugar, I'm using 4 pounds of sugar. So what I do is, I do this all by hand. You could easily put it in a bucket, just put your sugar into there, put water, and then just let it, spill in there. But I'm doing it by hand just because, it doesn't really matter. Either way works good. So I'm doing it by hand, opening my sugar. So depending on what you want, I'm using granulated sugar, not powdered sugar. I'm just using granulated sugar, which I've looked up. It says pretty good for the bees. It's okay for the bees to eat it. So what I do is you can do it all around. Kind of put it side to side. Make sure the wind's not blowing. The wind's kind of blowing, so it may. So then what I do is I like to take my hand, kind of like spread it out. We don't want it in one place. We don't really want it in the other. And also, I'd suggest doing this outside if you're doing it by hand. So I'd do it outside, depending on what candy board you're using. If it says that it's not going to be able to spill, because these are hand built, so we built it as a way that it just makes it simple, but it still can spill for us. So if you have a design kind of like this one, I would do it outside just in case of any spills from the cracks. Another good thing to do is to silicone the edges. And if you want to use it a lot and once it hardens, after time, eventually there'll be sugar hardened all over on the sides. So then that won't be a problem once you use it more, which shouldn't be too much a problem because I've been using this for a little bit. So what I do is I just get the corners, corner to corner. Then just kind of flatten it down. I like to flatten it down a little bit. So this is 4 pounds of sugar. So now, protein supplements, you can use pretty much anything. I'm just using simple protein. what I like to do is I'll get one of these cups. I don't really know in teaspoons that is, but if you can just look at it, it really doesn't matter. This is 20 grams of protein, or you can do 10 grams of protein. I may do just 10 or 20, it doesn't really matter, depending on where you live. So I kind of got like maybe 16, 17 grams of protein here. I kind of like to put it everywhere. Put it all around. So while they're eating the sugar, they'll be eating the protein. I'm gonna get just a little more. Now I will say, do not overdo it. See, that's about enough. And if you want to, take a stirring spoon, just kind of mix it around there. As you can see, I'm doing it by hand. Just makes it easier for me. Now, we're to the point where now we need our water. I'm doing the water by hand. What I'll do, I'll just hold up my hand and just let it kind of, you know, just a little bit at a time. Maybe I'll just, you know, kind of sprinkle it on there, because I don't really want to overdo it. It's not really good to overdo stuff. Now, let's just do a little more. Trying to do the best I can. I may have to. So, what I mean, as you see, it's a little harder to do it like this way, just because you don't want to overdo the water. So, here soon, I'm going to come up with something different. That's why I'm experimenting with this stuff. I'm seeing what's the difference, really, between this and different methods. So, in the future, I'm going to be taking something different and doing something a little different, kind of like experimenting a little bit with, you know, everything. It's good to get creative. See how I'm just kind of swirling around? Now, this is hot water. Now what I'll do is I'll make it go to side. And that's about it. Just take your water. Now, depending on how much water you need, it depends on how much sugar you use. So for 4 pounds, I'd say about half of this cup. But if it's a little more, I'd do a cup. If you're doing it 2 cups, then I'd do a little less. See, now that's like it's thick. I can feel it. It's real thick. It looks from my end and your end, it looks real liquidy, but it's really not. It's really real thick. I can feel it, and it's real thick. Now, what I'll do is I'll just let it go to side, and then once I get all my water in here, I'll let it sit. This isn't really anything high tech. It's probably really, you know, real simple to do. Now that's probably about all we need in there. Now you could do. It may be actually a good idea to take some kind of stirring stick. I'd take a spoon and kind of stir it around there for all this top stuff. Either way works good. Now, see, it's pretty thick. Now what I like to do is I like to let it sit overnight in a little storage capacity room. I don't really like to let it sit outside. Like I'll let it sit outside till nighttime, because I'm doing this around 3 o'clock usually every time I do make these every 3 or 4, maybe every month. So I'll do it. I'll put these in, you know, storage room. Just let them sit. Once I let them harden just a little bit, let them harden the rest, and after that, then I'll put it on the colony. So it's basically as easy as that. It's nothing too complex. You know, I don't really want to do. You know, now I have to do the second one, which I'll do off camera. But that is basically how I make candy boards. Now the last thing to do is let it sit and put it on your beehive and have fun with your bees. Now, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next video.